Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. In this episode, I'm going to detail the story of legendary rapper Ice Cube. Ice Cube was born to O'Shea Jackson on June 15, 1969 in Los Angeles, California. Ice Cube would be born to hard-working parents. His mother Doris worked multiple jobs, like a hospital clerk and a custodian. His father Hosea was a groundskeeper, so growing up in his home, Ice Cube knew hard work from the start. Ice Cube would grow up in South Central. South Central, by all accounts, was a thriving community at a point. By the beginning of the 1970s, the rapid decline of the area's manufacturing base resulted in the loss of jobs that allowed many skilled black union workers to enjoy a middle-class lifestyle. Widespread unemployment, poverty, and street crime contributed to the rise of street gangs in South Central, such as the Crips and the Bloods. Gangs became even more powerful with money coming in from drugs, especially crack cocaine. That trade dominated the gangs in the 80s on up. And for Ice Cube, growing up as a kid in the 70s, he would see a dramatic change of his neighborhood. He grew up in a middle-class area to gang-infested area in a matter of years. Once a safe community where him and his friends would be outside playing every day would become a war zone. The area he grew up in South Central would be called the Hundreds. The area known as the Hundreds is home to several Blood, Crip, Hoover, and Sereno gangs who called the area home. Ice Cube would grow up on a street called Van Wyck, which was in the heart of the 111 neighborhood Crips, which is a gang that's part of the collective known as the Rolling 100 Crips. Some of Ice Cube's close childhood friends would later join the gang in the neighborhood, being the 111 neighborhood Crips, like some of his childhood friends and future rappers like Dub C.
All the kids on the block, all the kids that moved away, I guess we grew up. We was the kids. This is the house I grew up in. Got a nice fresh paint job.
To a young O'Shea, South Central seemed like any other Los Angeles neighborhood.
I thought we was rich, you know what I mean? Because the neighborhood at first glance looks like a pristine place to be. It seems pretty quiet around here, but just the freaks come out at night.
But Ice Cube, he never became a gang member. Even though he was affiliated with the area he grew up in, just by his association with his friends, he chose a different path. Cube focused on his dream to become an athlete, which he excelled in sports, even being influenced to rap early. With several people in his community being good at sports, he wanted to be different and be better at everybody else in something else. Cube's older brother and sister helped him develop a love for music, and he would even write his first rap at the young age of 12. In 1981, Cube was 12 years old, and he was already experiencing tragedies, with people he knew being shot from gang violence, but the tragedy for him that year would be the death of his older sister. Ice Cube's sister, Beverly Jean Brown, was 22 years old at the time of her death in the early 80s. After a domestic dispute, Beverly's 27-year-old husband, Carl Clifford Brown, reportedly took her hostage and barricaded them both inside of their South Central home. Only Beverly would die from this altercation. Police surrounded the home and heard multiple shots. They attempted to communicate with Carl via loudspeaker and telephone. However, once the special weapons detective team entered the house, they found Carl had been injured and Beverly had been killed. Carl would die 1 month later. The couple had one son who was only 1 year old. Ice Cube later stated Carl was a wannabe cop who fell into a deep depression once he tried to be a police and didn't make the cut. This would develop Ice Cube's hate for cops early on in his life, plus the harassment him and his friends already faced as kids in the ghetto.
The world before that happened and then how I looked at the world after that happened. You know, it had been some things that happened on my block, you know, a couple shooting. You know, when that happened to Beverly, it was funny because her husband who did this to her, he wanted to be a cop, you know, he wanted to be a LAPD. And he didn't make the cut. And it really frustrated him a lot. And, you know, he just went off the deep end.
Around the age of 13, Cube began hanging around Sir Jinx, who was already heavy into the music scene, being a b-boy and having turntables and also studio equipment in his home. Going to Jinx's home helped Cube early to start perfecting his rapping skills and also kept him out the streets. Sir Jinx's cousin was Dr. Dre, who by this time in 1984 was a rising artist and producer with the group World Class Wrecking Crew. Jinx would introduce Cube to Dr. Dre and DJ Yella, who was also a part of the Wrecking Crew. Cube and Dre would develop a relationship, with Dre moving to Jinx's home, and they would see each other often. Dre's presence made Cube take sports less serious and made him want to work more on his music, so he stopped going to football practice and began working on his music more with Jinx and Dre. Ice Cube, Sir Jinx, and KD would later form the group Stereo Crew by '85. They began entering talent shows, and they were later signed with Epic Records. They released their debut single, She's a Skag, in 1986, which was produced by Dr. Dre and bandmate Alonzo Williams. But with the group's singles selling poorly, they would be dropped off of Epic Records. The Stereo Crew would change the group's name to CIA. In 1987, the trio released their single, My Posse, but the group didn't gain much success. They didn't even like the style that Dr. Dre tried to make them rap, Dre making them mimic the style of the Beastie Boys to keep their music clean and appealing. Ice Cube would go around this by dropping mixtapes and selling them at swap meets, because on these tapes, he can talk about the streets and reality. People didn't believe in the reality rap style at the time, but one early believer was Eazy-E, who Cube met through Dr. Dre, with Dre and Eazy being friends for several years. Eazy had been in the streets for years, but he wanted another alternative than being in a drug game. Eazy thought making music would be a legit way to make a lot of money, and he took a chance and invested. Eazy made a record label called what we know as today, Rufus Records. Eazy began signing artists to his label with the help of Jerry Heller, who helped Eazy big with the label. He signed artists like JJ Fad and New York group called HBO. With Dr. Dre's commitment to the World Class Wrecking Crew and Cube's group CIA, they would have not the moment signed with Rufus Records, but Eazy would start paying Cube to write for his group HBO, with Cube being known for writing for other artists like Wrecking Crew. Cube would come up with the song Boys in the Hood for HBO, but the group would hate the song, with them not relating to the LA lifestyle that Cube rapped about. So instead, Cube and Dre would suggest Eazy, who never rapped in his life, try to rap the song instead. And let's just say, that's when history was made. Upon the success of the song Boys in the Hood, written by Cube, produced by Dre, and rapped by Eazy-E, helping establish gangster rap in California, Eazy focused on developing what he would call an all-star group, which will later become the group NWA, which eventually featured group members Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Arabian Prince, DJ Yella, and MC Ren. NWA released their first compilation album as a group in 1987, called NWA and the Posse. NWA released their debut studio album, called Straight Outta Compton, in 1988. The group reflected the rising anger of the urban youth. The opening song, Straight Outta Compton, introduced the group to the world. Lyrics in that album protested police brutality and racial profiling, and also painted the view of their inner city youth. The group was later credited with pioneering gangster rap. NWA referred to their music as reality rap though. NWA endured a lot of controversy with their music, and got even more hate from the government and police, with FBI sending them personal letters, and also police harassing them more even in the streets. But even with everything NWA endured, they seen themselves as contributing to political awareness and involvement of American youth against racism.
Most of the police are black themselves.
Well, see, what it is, it's like kids, when they're in the neighborhood, you know, they're out there trying to do what they got to do to survive or whatever, and their only opposition is police. Now, police, on the other hand, they get the most trouble out of kids. So that's where the tension grows, you know what I'm saying? So they overact on kids overact on police, and that's what happens, you know. Just, they stereotype, you know. Police are stereotype, and young black kids are stereotype. And the stereotype...
WA Straight Outta Compton album was eventually certified triple platinum. Immediately following this was the release of Eazy-E's solo debut, Eazy Does It, which was produced by Dr. Dre, DJ Yella, and songs wrote by DOC, MC Ren, and Ice Cube. NWA and the rest of the Ruthless Records crew went on tour in support of their project. Some began to voice their displeasure with the financial situation at Ruthless. Arabian Prince would be the first to lead a group. By late 1989, Cube questioned his compensation and NWA's management by Jerry Heller. Cube also wrote most of Eazy-E's debut album, Eazy Does It, and he received a total payout of $32,000. Jerry Heller presented Ice Cube a contract that said he wasn't an official member until he signed the contract, and that's when he would receive the money. Q reviewed the contract and seeing many things wrong and seeing how Jerry didn't run business properly and decided to leave the group, which was hard with his loyalty to this crew, but Cube seen it wasn't a way to work with Jerry. Cube sued Jerry Heller, and the lawsuit was later settled out of court. This would cause a future rift with Ice Cube and the remaining NWA members. Ice Cube had no beef with the group, just Jerry Heller, but NWA members didn't take it that way. They felt he left the group hanging, and the future beef would be incoming. Ice Cube would fetch a solo deal in early 1990, and he would sign a deal with Priority Records. He founded his own crew, the Lynch Mob, with several other people he grew up with and his old crew, CIA. Ice Cube recorded his first debut album, America Most Wanted, in New York, with iconic rap group, Public Enemy, with production team, The Bomb Squad. Arriving in May of 1990, it was an instant hit. Cube would even sign a female rapper named Yo-Yo and help produce her debut album, Make Way for the Motherlode. Also in 1990, Cube followed up his album with an EP. It was called Kill at Will, and it was critically acclaimed. But during all the success that Cube was getting, the beef with NWA would get serious, and NWA would start dissing Cube. In NWA's EP, 100 Miles and Running, Dre would rap on one of the songs. It started with 5, but one couldn't take it, so now there's 4, because the 5th couldn't make it. In another song, Ren raps only reason people pick up your record because they thought it was us. Dre in another song would call Cube Benedict Arnold. Rap TV shows Pump It Up's host, D Barnes, interviewed NWA promoting their EP. Later, the show's producers sent D Barnes to get Cube's rebuttal. Against D Barnes' warning, they put everything together, trying to create drama.
Because he wasn't paying me my money.
That's the bottom line.
Bottom line, that's it. No more NWA. No more NWA
Lynch
questions.
Mob.
Lynch Mob is my new crew.
Who gave it that name? Because Lynch Mob is like...
Lynch Mob, we just lynch everybody on the mic, you know, we just...
Pump it up. I got all suckers 100 miles and running.
Like to give a shout out to the DOC.
Y'all can't complain.
That D always in the middle of controversy.
Drunk at a ruthless party in Hollywood, Dr. Dre assaulted D Barnes in payback. NWA members will make a joke of this.
Claims that last January at a Los Angeles club, Dre assaulted her, grabbing her hair, slamming her face and body into a wall, and kicking her in the ribs. Barnes's attorneys say that Dre was apparently upset that one of Barnes's producers inserted her interview with ex-NWA member Ice Cube into a Pump It Up show last winter featuring NWA. The group and Ice Cube have become mortal enemies since he left NWA 2 years ago. NWA's independent publicist Norman Winters says, quote, "I know Dr. Dre is a gentle soul, the loving father of a baby boy. I can't imagine him treating any lady in anything but a gentlemanly fashion." No comment from NWA's label, but when we interviewed NWA last March, the group was quite willing to comment on the Barnes incident.
That's what she get. I hope she get it again. She got beat down. The host of that show, did something and she know what she did and got beat down, and I hope it happened again. See you around, buddy boy.
Cube would even embark in a beef with Rufus record group Above the Law, and several fights and altercations. What happened between the two?
Okay, so in the NWA movie, there was a scene where Ice Cube gets into it with guys from Ruthless.
Right.
And I guess it was at a music seminar. And so I believe that was, you were involved
That's
in all
above the
that?
law. That's above the law. He disrespect Pomona. Me and him got into a head-up scrap. Spilled over to the new music seminar.
So you guys got in a fight first?
Yeah, we had a fight first. Head up.
At the Celebrity.
At the Celebrity Theater. And say, what's up? As soon as he say, what's up? I give him to him a 2-piece hot wind. Boom, he fall through the door. Chaos grab him and throw him, sling him, and then all the security rush. So by the time speeding you up to New York, the rumor gets back, Brother Law jumped Cube. It really was me and him fighting. Wasn't nobody jump, didn't nobody jump nobody, right?
So Cube didn't back down either.
No, he didn't.
He didn't back
down. He got socked out, but he didn't back down. He got socked out, but he didn't back down. And when we get to New York, so all the stuff going around the seminar is like, oh yeah, the Lynch Mob here, and they got issues, whatever, right? So we get to New York, we're like, okay, whatever. So we see each other going to a panel, right? And we face off, right in the middle of the seminar, and we get down. And all hell broke.
In May of 1991, NWA's next album, they furthered the feud, where they would diss Ice Cube in several songs. Ice Cube made references to NWA in songs, but no full-on disses. His second album, Death Certificate, which was another hit for Ice Cube, but the song No Vaseline, a diss towards NWA, was the most known song from that album. Many call No Vaseline the best diss of all time, or one of the best disses ever. He went hard at every single group member, tearing them apart. He went at Dre, Easy, MC Ren, DJ Yella, and even Jerry Heller in several verses. And you can say, Cube won the battle, because shortly after, NWA disbanded, and Dre would leave NWA and start Death Row Records. Cube would even have a small beef with people like MC Hammer, after Cube dissed Hammer in his video for the song True to the Game, which he would talk about people being sellouts and Uncle Toms in the song. In the video, DJ Pooh mimics MC Hammer's style, and Cube would kidnap Hammer and throw him in the trunk. Allegedly, MC Hammer would see Cube and talk to him and check him about the situation. 1991 will be a successful year for Cube, with the release of Death Certificate and also his first movie role, playing Doughboy in legendary movie Boys in the Hood. The movie followed the lives of several young boys, from kids and trials and tribulations they faced from childhood to teenage years growing up in South Central.
Acting felt like a fish out of water, but I caught on. You know, it's different from making records, of course, because making records, I'm the quarterback. Now I guess I'm just like a running back or a tight end because I'm waiting for the director to tell me which way to go. But John Singleton, he's a 22-year-old brother. This is his first movie. He just graduated out of USC. He does a movie about South Central Los Angeles. He's from South Central Los Angeles. So the story is very sincere, and it hits home. That's why I did it, and he worked with me a lot. You know?
The Hood. It's not a documentary, but it's so close to one. The Temptations in a place like Compton is much more than the Temptations in Iowa for a kid. I mean, it's this close from a documentary because it's so real.
Cube would convert to Islam in the early 90s, and you can tell by his music content and his pro-black attitude. By 1992, Cube and his longtime girlfriend Kim would get married, and they would later have multiple kids. 92 would be another big year for Cube. He released the album, The Predator, which was a massive hit, with singles like Good Day and Check Yourself. He also appeared in his second film, called Trespass, and produced on the Lynch Mob's album, Gorillas in the Mist. And from the rest of the 90s, Cube would stay active in all avenues, from music, acting, and business. Just the following year in 93, Cube released the album, Lethal Injection, which would be another platinum album. In that same year, he made a cameo appearance in comedy movie, CB4. By 94, Cube would act in movies Glass Shield and produce on Lynch Mob's album, Planet of the Apes. Along with bootlegs and B-sides, a compilation tape Cube put out featuring the Lynch Mob, and it featured Westside Connection group mates, Dub C and Mac 10, who he would play a big part in helping build their careers. Cube would take offense to a rapper named Common's song, I Used to Love Her, that came out in 1994, with Common describing hip-hop as a female that he watched grow, meaning through different phases of hip-hop. He said the female went to the West, and he wasn't salty when she was with the Boys in the Hood. Ice Cube felt disrespected by this, and the beef between the two ensued, and diss records will follow.
When he first came out, I mean, he was doing like hip, real, like old school hip hop records, you know what I'm saying, with the scratch and hook, that and all. But what I used to love, I mean, we all know metaphors, you know. I've been in the game since I was 14, so I know metaphors, and dude, this.
I created I Used to Love It in 1994. You know, it was a story that I could tell about the evolution of hip hop and the stages that I seen hip hop go from just the pure innocent to the along with raw and just being freestyle, like to the pro-black, from pro-black, and then going to the West Coast.
That he was in love with, you know, she's supposed to be hip hop, and he's so in love with her, but when she go out here, she get fucked. We felt it was a diss, so at least I did. I mean, everybody did, but you know, I was the first one with the pen, so that's how that started.
I was, you know, like, that he even recognized me, but I was hurt that he had dissed me a little, you know. But overall, I was just like, all right, that's cool. Kind of laughed it off. And then I seen Ice Cube and Mac 10 and WC, they were on BET dissing me. I was like, okay.
And come on, Common.
I didn't know what it was going to escalate to. I didn't know. I was like.
But Common and Cube's diss records wouldn't go too far, and their beef was later squashed. By 1994, NWA would squash their beef, but before they could ever go any further, Eazy-E would die in 1995.
Rap singer Eazy-E has lost his battle with AIDS just 10 days after revealing that he had the disease. The rapper died last night in a Los Angeles hospital. He was hospitalized last month for what he thought was asthma and said that he did not know how he contracted AIDS. Eazy-E, whose real name was Eric Wright, was a founding member of the band NWA. The band practically originated the hardcore style of gangster rap and was a huge influence in the rap community.
In 1995, Cube would again take part in another John Singleton film, Being Higher Learning, a film about multiple college students' experiences in college from many different angles, from racial discrimination, social class, and the overall experience of college. Cube began writing and expanding his artistry. With the help of DJ Pooh, he would go on to write and produce Movie Friday, which would come out in 1995 and was a massive hit and legendary for the culture and Ice Cube's career, and even later, it would be followed up by 2 other Friday films, making it a series. But a lot of drama would come from the soundtrack of Friday. Cube would be working with a close friend, Be Real, a group Cypress Hill, for songs for the soundtrack of Friday. But things would get tricky when Be Real would later state Cube stole his song, and that song was Friday. This created a major rift and beef between Cube and the entourage at Cypress Hill.
Yeah, that's perfect, you know. Me and Muggs asked him, hey man, we got a couple of tracks from the album, you want to hear it?
We played him a song called Throw Your Set in the Air, and he was like, oh, that's bang, can I get that for the movie instead?
They're like, man, we'd love to give it to you, but this is going to be the single on our album.
He said, all right, cool. So he said, can I hear it again? So we played it again for him.
We played it for him a couple of times over because he wanted to hear it again.
We was kind of like half-ass listening to him, half-ass talk.
The Friday soundtrack was released just before Cypress Hill's album, Temples of Boom. A friend of Be Real's heard it and called him.
He says, hey man, did you give Cube the song from your record for the Friday thing? Like, yeah, the Get High song, yeah, we gave that up already. Why? No, the Throw Your Set in the Air thing. I said, no, we didn't give him that. It is in his chorus in his song. So we're like, nah.
We was thrown back like, what?
3 months later, I go to South Africa to do my movie. Mac 10 called me and say, Cypress Hill was on the radio dissing.
Diss songs will soon follow, with Be Real making a diss song, which Ice Cube and Mac 10 responded to with the song King of the Hill on Westside Connection's debut album, Bow Down. Around the same time, Cube had inner circle beef with Cam and Solo, who once affiliated with him. This would lead to Solo and Cube getting into an altercation, and Ice Cube allegedly being knocked out by Solo and having his chain took.
We're also in the middle of a business feud with Ice Cube. Meeting Solo at a Los Angeles traffic light, Ice Cube started a fight.
Knocked him down, knocked him out, woke him back up. Somehow his chain fell in my hand. I don't know how it got in my hand, but it fell in my hand. Then all of a sudden his Rolex started jumping off and coming into my hand. I don't know how that happened. Be Real, put it on and hold it all up into the crowd. Crowd go crazy. They go bananas off.
Even with this situation getting violent, Ice Cube would later make peace with Cypress Hill and even Cam and Solo.
I mean, both of us, we have a lot of influence on our communities and everything with our music and the stuff we got to say. So, we was beefing each other for so long and it was confusing people. And we need to be down together rather than confusing each other and confusing our audience and all the people who are listening to what we got to say. So, it's like we needed to put aside our differences and look at the bigger picture. We go back a ways. We were friends and real tight and everything. I didn't hate him. You know what I mean? Okay. I had love for him. Okay. So I wanted to squash it, and I know he wanted to squash it.
97, a compilation tape called Featuring Ice Cube would drop with a bunch of songs he created throughout the 90s. The same year, he produced and acted in a film, Dangerous Ground, and acted in a film called Anaconda that did great in the box office. In 98, Cube would release his long-awaited studio album, War and Peace Volume 1. At that time point, it had been 5 years since he did a solo album. He would even write and produce and act in film, Players Club that year. He also made a cameo appearance in Master P film I Got the Hookup. Cube in 99 starred alongside George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg as Staff Sergeant in the movie Three Kings. The movie was set in the immediate aftermath of the Gulf War. That same year, he would appear in his artist Mac 10's movie, Thicker Than Water. Ice Cube's sixth album would be delayed and didn't come out till 2000. The album would be called War and Peace Volume 2. The album featured Westside Connection and even a reunion with his old NWA members, Dr. Dre and MC Ren. In 2000, Cube also joined Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and several others on the Up in Smoke tour, along with dropping a sequel to the movie Friday, called Next Friday. Cube would focus more on acting in the following years, besides his greatest hits dropping in 2001. That same year, he acted in The Ghost of Mars, and in 2002, another movie he wrote, produced, and acted in, which became a series, being Barbershop, and the end of Series Friday, with the last movie being Friday After Next, and another film called All About the Benjamins. The Westside Connection crew would drop their last album called Terrorist Threats, which would go good, but this would be the group's last album, over Epic Fallout and Mac 10 and Ice Cube, over allegedly Mac 10 being disrespected by Ice Cube's brother-in-law and him getting beat up for the disrespect. Cube would take his brother-in-law's side, causing a fallout.
Ice Cube's brother-in-law. And at one point, a rift started with Westside Connection.
Yeah.
You and Ice Cube.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of hazy stories around this, but it seems to focus around Ice Cube's brother-in-law. Can you talk about that?
I mean, what you want to know?
Well, what happened?
It was just, I mean, you know, it was just an unfortunate situation, you know, as far as, you know, what came out of all that, you know what I'm saying? But the stories you heard, probably, most of them probably was, what did you hear?
The story I heard was that Ice Cube's brother-in-law got beat up.
What else did you hear? Did you hear that that before all this happened, that like it ain't like that just happened?
Well, never just happened.
Yeah.
But there was friction.
Yeah, it was conflict. Yeah, you know. But I went to Cube about 4 or 5 times before the conflict jumped off.
Okay.
And told him to correct the situation. So that's the part that everybody leave out, I think.
Right.
I didn't. Nobody didn't intend on starting nothing or nothing even like escalating to that level. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go to somebody 5 times before it escalate, then you was trying to be diplomatic about the situation.
Right. I mean, the problem is that you're talking about Ice Cube's wife's brother.
I understand.
So now Ice Cube gets put in a weird situation where...
Well, it depends on how weird you want to be. Because if it was my wife's brother, I would have told him he can't fuck my money up.
Right.
And he can't be out of line with nobody I'm getting down with. And if you got that big of a problem with him, stay at home. You know what I'm saying?
Like it's a problem with Mac?
Yeah, it's a problem. You know what I mean? It's I like, you know, it's a thing where
Modest is a motherfucker.
You know, it's just a violation that can't be overlooked.
Okay.
Ever a chance we could get a Westside Connection reunion with you, Dub, and Mac 10?
Probably not. Probably not.
Wow.
I don't want to do another Westside Connection.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw Mac 10 on Vlad TV, and you know, I always wonder what happened with that relationship.
When you get him on,
his side,
of course he do. Of course he do. I don't want to talk about it, to be honest, because he know what it is.
The beef would never be squashed. Cube wouldn't have another album until 3 years later, when he dropped a solo album, Laugh Now, Cry Later, which the album will go gold in 2006. He would drop compilation tapes after that, like in 2007 in the Movies, and in 2008, The Essentials, and also in 2010, a solo album called I Am the West. From 2004 to 2010, Q would be a part of several movies, shows, and documentaries, like 2004 movies Twerk, The N-Word, and sequel to the movie Barbershop called Barbershop 2, Back in Business, and several movies in 2005, like Sierra Leone, XX State of Union, and also a 6-part documentary called Black and White. In 2007, Cube made animated series Friday that lasted a season. Cube would act in sequel to a movie Are We There Yet? Called Are We Done Yet? Along with 2008 movies like First Sunday and Alone Shots. Cube would write and act in movie Janky Promoters in 2009, as well as 2010. He would produce and act in movie Lottery Ticket. Cube will also produce the series form of the movies Are We There Yet?, which lasted 3 seasons. Cube would even do a voice role on game Call of Duty. Ice Cube and basketball star LeBron James even paired up to pitch a 1-hour special on LeBron's life. Cube even directed a documentary called Straight Outta LA, examining the interplay of Los Angeles hip-hop and the Raiders during the 80s into the 90s. From 2011 to 2015, Cube acted in movies like Rampart, 21 Jump Street in 2012, and another compilation tape called Icon in 2013. 2014 would be busy for Cube, as he would act in a sequel to 21 Jump Street called 22 Jump Street, along with movies like Ride Along and A Book of Life. 2015, Cube would play a big role and help produce new bio movie, Straight Outta Compton. The movie would be a major hit and covered the origins of the NWA members, their careers, and also their lives. Cube's son O'Shea Jr. will play his dad in the movie, playing Ice Cube. From 2016 to 2017, Cube would act in movies like Ride Along 2, Barbershop 3 The Next Cut, XXX The Return of Xander Cage, Fist Fight, and in 2018, an album called Everything Corrupt. That will be his last solo album. In 2017, Cube launched the Big Three, a 3-on-3 basketball league starring former NBA players and ex-athletes. Ice Cube said that the league is one of his greatest accomplishments, and he also wants to expand the league.
Of course, I grew up playing a lot of 3-on-3, more 3-on-3 than 5-on-5, and I've always loved that version of basketball, and I always wondered why it wasn't ever elevated to the pro level. So that idea kind of stayed dormant in my head for years until Kobe scored 60 points in his last game, and I realized there was nowhere to watch this guy play again, and I want to see a lot of guys play again. And so that's how we really thought about, like, yo, this can be real if we can get former NBA players that still got juice in the tank to play, then we might have a good league here.
2017, Cube would get his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Being a part of several business endeavors, Cube's music and acting roles would be less. In 2020, he would act in movie High Note. 2022, Cube would become 1/4 a rap group, Mount Westmore, that feature other rap legends from the West Coast like Snoop Dogg, Too Short, E40, and himself. They would drop an album called Snoop, Cube, 40 Short.
You know, took the most work was just putting the business together.
Right.
Like, you know, putting the LLC together. You know, we are Mount Westmore company. So, you know, just making sure we had that in line was the hardest part. Everything else been easy, except, you know, trying to get, you know, 40 and Snoop in the same place at the same time. You know what I mean? Like you know, that's been the hardest part. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, we've been having fun and just enjoying working with each other.
Amen.
In 2023, Cube will have a voice role in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Cube has had a career almost spanning 40 years, being a part of 10 studio albums, 6 compilation tapes, 12 soundtracks, over 40 movies and shows, and a long list of other businesses, making his career one of the best a rapper has ever seen, and making him undoubtedly a legend. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.